got, before we started today, I took a look at the tablet scores, and I guess I'm sort of feeling like, I guess I'm feeling bad that I'm not doing more, or we're not doing more to kind of get you get you on track. And it's like, I know this is really, our sessions are really important, but I'm sort of thinking we might need to kind of be creative. And I wonder if would it be okay if I showed you the scores?
Yeah, that'd be fine. I mean,
Okay.
I'm just constantly feeling like I'm in the same level, and it's really tough.
Yeah. And so really what I'm thinking is I want to do more for you, but I just want to take a look, just show you right now sort of where things are. And I really appreciate you fill us out every session, but I think we've done this before, but it's been a while. And a high score on this measure actually shows means that you're healthy. And so what we see here is this kind of trend that there's been some ups and downs, but it's trending downward. And my feeling is that means we got to be creative, because things are kind of getting worse.
Yeah, I certainly feel, I don't know, it's just like I still don't have any purpose for what I really want to do. And I mean, since I've stopped playing hockey, it's like, I just can't really find who I want to be or who I'm supposed to be. And I certainly feel that way. And I don't know if you're saying about change, I don't know if I'm able to do that.
To do that, yeah. And that's the real sort of catch-22 is I want us to kind of be creative, but I know your energy is low, and you're sort of, I guess your feelings of hope are dashed.
Yes, yeah. I mean, being supposed to be a fourth-year student, only in my second year here now, it's really been tough. Only really having energy to only get a course done, and still not working because I still don't know what I'm interested in, or even if I was interested, would I be able to have that energy level to follow through with it? I mean, it's been really tough, and feeling like I'm on this consistent down path. It's really been tough.
Yeah. I mean, the hockey was everything.
Yes, yeah, and trying to find a new path has been very difficult.
Yeah. I think I've talked to you a little bit about the model that we're using that's quite experimental now, the step to care model. And one of the things I'm thinking about that might kind of bring a little bit of energy, a little bit of shift, is to get you in a supportive way involved here at the center with some of the design of our care. And there's a new opportunity that just came up to support the Autism Society here. And I don't know if you've ever heard of therapeutic gaming as a concept.
Not necessarily. I mean, I love
Gaming.
to do that on my own, but I've never heard of it in that regard before. So
what we're kind of trying out now with some students is, rather than just the therapy that we've done, let's support you to kind of do something that's meaningful to you. But the goal is therapeutic, and so it isn't like there isn't going to be an expectation that you perform with perfection at this. We understand that this is a process, and so this program that we call it a client design team. So that students who are clients of the center actually start helping us to design programming for other students based on their life experiences, and then based also on their personal interests and personal expertise. So gaming is one you've got. I mean, as an athlete, you've got the experience of how playing a sport is very meaningful and helps with mood and all that kind of thing.
So would that mean, that sounds interesting, would that mean I'd have to work in a group setting?
Not necessarily. So the client design team, and again, this is part of the design, so if that doesn't work for a student, then we'll work with you and take your input to design a different way of doing this. Is that something that sort of working in a group setting that you're a little bit nervous about?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. I haven't really worked in that kind of setting since I've stopped playing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a bit hesitant for me to think about doing that. But how involved would I have to be?
Well, what we actually would like to do is give you a job. So we would hire you. You would get paid at the rate of the standard sort of student employment rate here, which is better than minimum wage. And for this term, we're thinking a total of 40 hours. And so that would be between 5 and 10 hours a week. Now, much of that you could do on your own. So the therapeutic gaming idea, the first thing we might do is just get you to research that. Find out, because you're an expert on games, but get you to see, what are some other places doing around therapeutic gaming. So you may have noticed we've got renovations going on here, and so we have these rooms that are going to be high tech. We have one that's going to be like a big sort of game room, like a living room with comfortable couches. And in the future, once we get this figured out how to do it, we're going to have students that have diagnosis with autism coming in with our support to engage in gaming that is sort of set up in a way that it actually helps them to connect and socialize and work on their personal goals.
Okay, so you're saying that I could get a job here and kind of work my own way to start, kind of thing?
Yeah, so there's several things. What we want to do is help you to, as a computer science student, there might be an opportunity for you to apply some of that learning in this job, because we're developing a lot of online tools. And so your perspective as a student with lived experience with depression I think will be really valuable in how we design programming for others. So rather than you just coming and getting the support, sometimes it's actually more rewarding and empowering if we set conditions where you're able to work with your passion and produce something meaningful that you feel like is making a contribution.
Okay, I think I understand it a bit more.
Yeah.
And that I certainly think that'd be something I'd be interested in.
And what we would do is we'd continue to monitor how you're doing with the scores that we reviewed, and if this doesn't seem to help for you, we'll go back. We can go back to the drawing board and try and find something else that kind of gets you moving forward. I guess with your program and just feeling better about life, and the depression is lifting.
So would this mean that we wouldn't meet one-on-one as often?
No, actually, I think we would still do that. So really, within the stepped care model, what we're doing is we're taking up a step, because when we see this downward trend, I mean, my conclusion is we got to do more. And we'll experiment, right? Because if this is maybe this will feel overwhelming to you. That's a risk too, and we don't know until we try it. I actually think you'll find some energy. You've talked a bit about when you're not busy, how your thinking sometimes goes to those suicidal thoughts,
Mhm.
and they're just so intrusive.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's only when I'm not busy, and they just don't seem to leave my thinking during that time. But when I do have some things to keep me busy, then they aren't there. So this whole idea of change, I guess, is a bit makes me a little bit nervous, I guess.
Yeah.
But but you know, I think I'd be interested in that. I do love gaming, so
Yeah. I mean, I even see, as you're talking about it, sort of a little bit of a sort of perking up. I mean, because that sort of that stuff sings to you, right? I mean, that's your that's a big part of your life. It's how you relax. And to kind of turn it into something even more, where it's work and valuable to others, and maybe helps others to kind of grow and heal and connect. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it can help me at least a little bit, yeah, for sure. Thinking of it like that, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the doubts. You said, I see you perk up, but there's like.
Well, I do love gaming. I mean, that's certainly a big thing, and finding work has been a big issue. So that would certainly help as well, I guess. I guess the group setting part, but you said that I could do a bit of it on my own to start to see how it would be. So that would certainly help with that.
And there's a real sort of dilemma about, I guess, in the work that we do, where supporting you it has to be comfortable enough, but in some ways there's a little pushing, right? There's a little, you gotta walk towards some of the things that you're worried about. So we would do that very much collaboratively. So I wouldn't want you to avoid going back to the group thing, because that was very much a part of your life when you were healthier. And so a little bit pushing, but not too much. And I'm thinking about how coaches work in hockey. I mean, they push you quite hard, but if they push you too hard, what happens?
Well, they have to step back a little bit, not push as hard.
Yeah. So how do you know in hockey? How do you know when a coach is pushing you too hard? Like what's been your experience?
Well, I mean, definitely that overwhelming feeling that you're not focusing on the right things. I guess you could say it becomes more of a negative than a positive. Yeah. Really. So. And
so because you used to coach too, when you were either being coached or were coaching, were there any situations where that happened, that the coach was pushing too hard?
Yeah, and I mean it's happened to me personally a couple of times, especially when I started getting hurt with my concussions.
Right.
They were really trying to push me back to play, and they thought it was only really something physical, when really emotionally and mentally I was far worse.
Okay.
So in the end game, it became such a huge negative to be playing that I kind of lost a bit of my love for it. So I can certainly see that. And for the team, if it does get overwhelming, do I have to work the full 40 hours if it becomes too overwhelming?
So the primary thing is that this is a therapeutic sort of action that we're taking. So that's the thing that is most important. Work hours, how much you get accomplished, that's secondary. That's a wish for me, because I think that'll make you feel better. But the primary thing is that it's therapeutic. So if we take the hockey analogy, I don't need you to win the game here. I need you to win the sort of the health improvement.
Okay. Yeah, that makes it sound a lot more interesting.
So to get this started, I'd like you to meet with one of our staff that's actually coordinating this. I think you may have met her before, Kelly. I think one of those times when I was away, I think you may have checked in with her.
Yes, yeah. You had me go see her once,
Yeah.
yeah.
And would that be okay to check in with her, or to kind of sort of get more details on how this is going to work? And
So checking in with her is more so just about the design team and not about me personally, right?
Right. And
Okay.
you can certainly bring up anything personal, but her job would really be to guide you on the design team, and for you to let her know, look, I can't, that's too much for me, and she knows that because she's on the same page with me as that this is therapeutic more than getting work done. I mean,
Okay.
so she can give you the details about about where the team is, and when we haven't actually had our first meeting, and even if you didn't want to go to that group meeting, that's fine too. You can kind of work that, and I'll let her know that that's a concern.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I think be fine to sit
Yeah.
down and have
Okay.
chat with her.
So, so what I'd like you to do is, when you leave today, is book another meeting with me next week.
Okay.
But if you can also find a time to check in with her, I don't think it has to be a long meeting. 15
Okay.
minutes or something with her would be fine. And if you have more thoughts about this, we can talk about it next time, because nothing's written in stone. It's really just an idea.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. So so I think we're done for today. And how are you feeling?
A little bit better, a bit nervous for a bit of change, but if I like the fact that if it's too overwhelming, we can step back a little bit. So
but we'll go back to the drawing board, and nothing's going to change in terms of how the frequency that we meet at this point. But I'm always looking for changing the way we work so that we can do better.
Yeah, that's
Good.
It's good.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Scott.